for joining our recording today for Solo K data collection. My name is Kristen Pittman. I'm the division leader for the Solo K services team, and I will be your presenter for this recording. First of all, I want to say that we did send you an email that has a link to Plan Sponsor Link. It's the email that states the 2025 data collection for the plan. So if you'll click on that link, you'll come to a page, a login page. In your login page, you're going to have a username and a password. Your username will always be your email address. And if you don't have a password yet and you're a first-time user, click on first-time user, enter your email address, and click submit. Same thing for forgot password. Okay. Once you have your password, you can log into Plan Sponsor Link. The first thing you're going to see is My Active Tasks. You could have a lot of active tasks on here, or you could have just the data collection. The one we're looking at today is year-end data collection 1/1/2025 through 12/31/25. I go over here to the right on the button that says Begin Task. I want to click that. Once I click that, it's going to bring me to this specific task to complete. As you can see, all of these tasks have arrows on them. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tasks to complete. Please don't let that overwhelm you. It's really quite simple. One thing I want to mention, though, is that you must click this final approval and census submission for NOVA to be alerted that you have completed your census. If you complete everything but you don't submit it, we'll never know you have that data out there. So please complete every step. So first of all, the first step is going to be your company contact information. This is the address and phone number that we have for your company. If it's different or you need to edit it anyway or add any addresses or numbers, adding data, you click on the plus button, and editing, you click on the little pencil. Once you have made the changes, you simply click on save, and you'll see that you'll have a check mark in that particular task. It's already checked. The other ones you can see they're arrows, but the one that is completed has a check mark. The next one is your employer company data. If you've been a client with us, your data may have rolled forward. You may need to edit some of it if it's incorrect, if you've changed company names, anything like that. You can always edit any of this data. These that are asterisks are required. If you file a Form 5500 EZ, if you're not sure, please contact our team and they will let you know. But there's a link here for your NAICS code that we will need for that filing. We know as a Solo K, most of you do not have a payroll provider, so you can leave that blank. But if you do, and if you have a W-2 employee like your spouse, please enter the payroll provider information. Once you've completed that, or maybe you don't have any changes, you've reviewed it, everything's accurate, click on save. Again, you'll have a check mark and it takes you to the next step, which is principals. This is where it lists the owners of the company that sponsors your plan. This is very important. We have accurate information here. It's important for compliance reporting. You may have had your information rolled forward. If you didn't, you click on the plus button, enter your name, social, title, and ownership. Very important. If you're a partnership, you have all partners and their ownerships. It must equal 100%. Once you've completed this step, you click save, check mark, and you can see next family. It has an arrow. We need to complete it. This is very important for compliance purposes with IRS regulations. We need you to enter any family members that receive W-2 income from you. If they receive 1099 in their contract, it's not applicable. Only if they receive W-2 income, like a spouse or a child, you must enter this information. So again, you would click on the plus button, enter their name, social, their relationship, and who they're related to, and you would submit. Okay? Once that section's completed, again, click on save, and it moves you to the next section, which is businesses. Very important for compliance testing as well, to ensure your plan is in compliance with IRS regulations where control group and affiliated service groups are concerned. If you own any other businesses, we need you to enter these businesses. You would simply click on this plus button, enter the company name, address, city, state, zip. We need to know the date that it was purchased. We need the EIN. Very important, we must know if you have any employees in this company, W-2 employees. We don't care about 1099 employees. They are contract. They are not applicable here. But for IRS regulations, make sure you let us know if there's any employees. If you don't have any other businesses, you can simply save this section as is, and it moves you to the next one, which is contact information. So your contact information is going to be any of that information that you've input for Nova to have as a contact for your plan. So this lists any contacts that we can give information to on your plan. It could be you, your CPA, your advisor. If you need to add your CPA, simply click on add, enter the information, and submit. If you need to change any of this information, if you need to remove a CPA, you click on change request and what you're doing here, replace or remove. And then what that does, once you submit it, we'll get an email and we'll update our system. Once you have everything correct here, again, you click on save and it takes you to the plan questionnaire. So the plan questionnaire is very important, especially if you need us to calculate an additional employer contribution. This is a contribution to, in addition to whatever you've already contributed as an employee, maybe to maximize yourself at that IRS limit for the year. If you want us to calculate one, please click yes. If you do not, you can click no, but please note, it's very important that you answer this correctly when you submit it, because we will prepare testing according to your answers here. And if it's incorrect, if you've answered incorrectly and you come back and you need changes made, additional fees will apply. That's considered revised testing. So to avoid additional fees, you may want to reach out to us to get clarification if you're not sure. If you're waiting for your CPA and to tell you what your compensation is, maybe you're a Schedule C or a K1, then I would advise you not to complete this yet. If you're not sure, don't complete it. Make sure you complete it once you know for sure if you want us to calculate one or not. If you want us to calculate one, typically owner onlys want us to maximize. You would just simply put in maximize here. But if you have a percentage or if you have a dollar amount that you want to allocate between partners or between you and a spouse, you can simply type it in here. When you type maximize, we are going to calculate the maximum that you can contribute for the plan for 2025. So just make sure you know for sure how you want to answer these to avoid any revised testing fees. What date would you like to receive the profit sharing contribution is very important also. Because we have to have at least 3 weeks. with complete data. So that means that your census has to be completed, and if you report your income on a Schedule C or you're a partnership with K1s, we have to have already have those schedules, or it has to be the date that we receive those schedules 3 weeks out. So we have to have all data before we can calculate. So I'm going to put 3 weeks out from today, which is 2/23. Then number 6 is asking, do you have any contributions you've already deposited for the year? You don't want us to calculate any. Maybe you've already deposited some, or maybe you deposited some and you want us to calculate some also. That's perfectly fine. So let's say you already made deferrals. You want to answer yes, you've already deposited that, and we're just letting you know that you need to enter that on the census. Very important, we have to have that contribution on the census. Again, if your census isn't correct and we have to revise testing, additional fees will apply. Did you employ any non-owner employees during the year? If so, we need you to enter those on the census. So if you have a spouse or a child that's receiving W-2 income, please make sure you select yes. And or you have any other W-2 employees, very important. Even if they're not contributing, even if they haven't satisfied eligibility, you may have some part-time employees that don't qualify for the plan yet, but we need those employees. It's important to track hours for them for long-term part-time regulations. If you are not sure about that, call our team. We can answer any questions you have. I have a staff that's available during regular business hours via phone or email. The question 8 is asking if you're a part of a control group or affiliated service group. If you're not sure about this question, call our team. If you don't own any other businesses, it's a no. This only applies if you own other businesses. Number 9 is just asking if you purchased or sold a company. 10 is just asking if you maintain any other plans. And then finally, 11 is asking if you're filing an extension for your company taxes. Complete that, save it. It moves on to one question under the 5500. And this question's just asking, did the plan, do you have brokerage accounts that have not been provided to NOVA? If you have some statements that haven't been provided to NOVA, make sure you send that via secure file transfer to our Solo K at NOVA 401k. Choose them in the drop-down menu. If NOVA does not receive statements automatically, we do charge $100 annually to follow up. So make sure we're set up, NOVA's set up to receive those duplicate statements. We send out emails when you are set up at NOVA, and then we continue with follow-up emails and phone calls on those. Click Save here. And here we are to the census data. Very important to note that even though it says employees here, for IRS purposes, this means you as well. If you're an owner and you're receiving income, you need to report yourself under here as well. What we need to do here is you need to, if it didn't roll forward from a prior year, you've got to manually enter your data here. If you're already listed here, you can edit the data for your compensation and contributions. But we're going to start like there's nobody entered in here, and we're going to add a person. So if you're an owner, you would add yourself. If you have any W-2 employees at all, whether they're spouse, children, or non-related, you must enter them if they received any W-2 income for 2025. It doesn't matter if they didn't contribute. We still need that information for IRS compliance purposes. I want to click on the plus button. We're just going to do a sample dummy person here. We're going to have you, we must have your date of birth. This is very important because we do track different required distributions. And we're going to put in a date of hire. We must have your date of hire, but if you're an owner, that could be your the date your company started. So enter the date your company started if you're the owner. If you had an employee and they terminated, you would need to enter their date of separation. Maybe you had an employee that was hired just work part of the year. We're going to need their date of hire and their date of termination. If you had an employee that previously terminated and they're rehired, we would need their rehire date. We need hours for any W-2 employees you have. This is very important for long-term part-time employee tracking as well as certain vesting requirements. Please enter hours. Gross compensation. Your gross compensation, if you're a W-2, if you report your income on a W-2, is going to be box 1 plus pre-tax salary deferrals, your employee contributions that are pre-tax. Then if you have any pre-tax health deductions, that would add up to your gross compensation. Now, if you're a K1, if you're a partnership and you report on a K1 or a Schedule C, you can put $1 here as a placeholder because we would need to calculate what your eligible plan compensation would be. W-2 box 1 compensation comes directly from the W-2. You do not need to complete this if you're a Schedule C or a K1 filer. But if you report on a W-2, you must fill in that directly from what the W-2 states. We have a new field this year, and it's because of the new IRS regulations about the Roth catch-up rule. We must have box 3 now, your FICA wages, if you're a W-2. If you are a Schedule C or a K1 partnership, we do not need this. This is only if you report your income on a W-2. We need to track this. So make sure you fill in box 3. The next thing you would need to fill out, you can disregard gross pre-entry. If you have any pre-tax health 125 plan, you would need to put that amount in there. You would not need to fill anything out on the taxable reimbursement, the bonus, the commissions, overtime, custom excluded. Our solo Ks do not exclude any compensation, so those do not apply. The only thing that could apply is maybe if you had an employee that you had to lay off. That doesn't come up a lot in the solo K plans, but if you had an employee with severance compensation, you would need to enter that. The next field is the employee pre-tax salary deferral. That is the employee contribution that was contributed, that was deducted on a pre-tax basis from your payroll, okay? You would need to enter that amount. Now, if you don't have pre-tax, but you contribute Roth, that's the other type of employee contribution. That's an after-tax. It's already been taxed. The Roth contribution amount would go in there. If you made an employer match contribution during the year, we need to know the total contributed for the year for the employer match. We have just a few solo K plans that are safe harbor. So if you are a safe harbor plan and you make safe harbor contributions during the year, you would need to enter that under this section. And then employer contribution would be any profit sharing contribution that maybe your CPA already calculated, that we're not calculating for you, but you've already deposited it. You would need to enter it in that field. Then after tax, I know a lot of our owner onlys do make after tax contributions. That is employee voluntary after tax, not to be confused with Roth. It's not a payroll deduction. It's true after tax contribution. Maybe you made an after tax and then later converted it to Roth. If that's fine if you converted it, but we need to know what it was when you deposited it because that applies to testing. There's certain regulations on the testing for that. So that would be the only thing that would be the end of what you have to fill out for a solo K. The after tax would be your final um, section you would need to fill out. You would simply click save on that. Let's go ahead and put some gross compensation here, and so I can show you how it's saved. Okay. I am going to put contributions. Let's say, see the FICA wages. I'm just going to put in 5,000 for FICA. And then we're going to make this a Roth contribution. We're going to do a 2,000 Roth contribution. I'm not going to put anything in employer safe harbor. So I've entered that. I'm going to click on save. And when you save it, you'll see it here. If you entered anything incorrectly, you can click on the edit button and go in here and edit it. Important to note up here for W-2s that the gross compensation has to reconcile. Okay, so make sure your gross compensation equals box 1 that you've entered in there plus pre-tax health plus pre-tax deferrals. Okay, I didn't have any pre-tax, so the gross should be what's in box 1 because there were no pre-tax deductions. So once I'm done with that, I can click on save. Oh, I have warnings. I want to go view these warnings. It'll take me up to another page. Okay, so it's giving me this little warning, and it's saying in most cases not all employees will have deferrals, but we just entered one employee, so that's okay. It's just a warning. It would be a warning like if you have a lot of employees and maybe you didn't enter all the employees. So it's giving you this message to say, hey, did you enter all your employees on here? Maybe you had some employees that didn't receive contributions, that didn't contribute. Are you sure this is all your W-2 employees? So I'm sure I don't have any employees. I don't have a spouse or anybody that I pay W-2 wages for. So I can go ahead and continue and save anyway. When I get to continue and save anyway, it's going to tell you right here, if revised testing is needed due to incorrect census data, additional fees of $200 an hour will apply. So make sure before you do this final submission that you've answered everything and given us correct census data. Again, if you need help with any of this, please call our team. Our team's phone number is listed in the email and our email address. So I'm going to click on sign and submit. Right here, you would enter, we want the name of the person that's entering this. So if it's your CPA entering this for you, we need their name because we need to contact, if we have any questions on anything, we need to contact the person that entered this. So we're going to give the name, title, the phone number, and the email address. I'm going to click on submit, and then that's the end of it. It'll show everything completed. Let's just go ahead and do this. Let's Let's see what it does when I click submit. Here we go. Thank you for completing all steps in the annual data collection. You will receive an email confirmation shortly. So you should receive an email confirmation that you completed it. And as you can see, it's gone for from your active task. But if you go under data collection, you're going to see it right here. And we advise you to go ahead and save this report. This report's going to be handy for you to keep for next year. If you have questions, how did I fill that out last year? So what you would do, like I said, go to the data collection tab, find that particular year, click on report and open it up. And when you open it up, it's going to be an Excel spreadsheet that you can't edit. It is an uneditable Excel spreadsheet. Oh, say that 3 times fast. And it's just going to give you the information you input. It's going to go through each tab that you filled out, every question you answered, the employees, and any notes you added in there. And that would be it. You are finished with your submission. Again, if you have any questions about this, please feel free to give our team a call. We're happy to help anytime. I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.